So, hey, everybody, it's tax day, April 15th, 2015. If you haven't done your taxes, get it done by tonight.
Yeah.
Or as my accountant says, extension.
I didn't know you get charged. You get penalized for the extension. Did you know that?
No, you don't get charged. Oh, you only get charged if you guess wrong on how much taxes you're supposed to pay.
Well, why do you need an extension if you know how much taxes?
Because you can't pay them. Or
Got it.
Or you have more deductions that you can get.
Right.
And so you have to make an estimated payment.
Let's not talk about taxes.
Right. No, I'm just for all the people that, they think an extension is, I just have 6 more months. You have to make an estimated payment when you do it. And if you're wrong, then you get penalized.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of people file an extension thinking, I don't have to pay until August. No, that's not it.
Yep.
So anyway, hey, as you guys can see, we're really lucky today to have Phil X with us.
What?
Phil, thanks for coming.
Hey, man. Thanks for
It's
having
so
me, man.
fun to see you here, because I run into you in Tone Merchants all the time. And we all know you from your live work,
Yeah.
which you're in a band setting. And we know you from the Fretted Americana videos.
Right.
So we were just talking about how everyone thinks you're this really, really hyper guy. And,
Yeah.
and I mean that in a nice, loving way.
Well, no, hyper is a good word sometimes.
Yeah, but then you meet Phil X, and you're like, the guy's so sweet. And he's so nice.
Don't
And-
say that.
No, it's really true.
Yeah.
No, sweet in a manly, tough kind of way.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
football and NASCAR kind of sweet,
Yeah. Get it.
Fucking guns, like that kind of sweet.
Thug, man.
Yeah,
I'm a thug.
totally.
Right.
Yeah. So I've gotten to know Phil a little bit more here at Tone Merchants because you do a lot of business with Dave,
Yes.
and you have a Friedman model named after you.
I do. And
How do you do that? It's like having a sandwich at a Jewish deli.
that's an interesting analogy.
Like I want to go into arts and, you want the Dan Bull. Okay. You can come into Dave and say, I want the Phil X.
Yeah. Well, I was actually blown away by the process
Yeah.
because, first Dave was like, hey, why don't you take the B100 to rehearsal, see how you like it? And I loved it. And sometimes I don't like, I wasn't even using the Harry Brown Eye channel. I was just using the Brown Eye channel.
Yeah.
Excuse the terms, they're not mine. And
Are
I
those
don't like.
those dirty terms? Are there?
It's just the visual that comes.
I was
with
just thinking somebody with.
Oh, see, you're
Like
different than
pink
everybody else on the
taco.
planet.
And was that
Pink taco.
salmon, right?
That's good.
Dirty Shirley. Anyway.
So I'm turning down the gain, and I'm turning down the gain, and I'm turning down the gain, and because sometimes I just like to get a Malcolm Young tone.
You're actually natural sound. Not to interrupt you, but when I hear you playing around the shop, your natural tone is not really very dirty.
No.
That doesn't seem to be your home base.
No.
Your home base, like you say, is AC/DC-ish, Zeppelin.
Yeah, exactly, because those are my roots, right? And and then if you need an Eddie Van Halen, you put a pedal in or something like that.
Yeah.
But the Brown Eye, I could totally get Eddie Van Halen. But when I turned down the master, the gain knob, it wasn't really giving me the what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I talked to.
And it's so subjective, like
It is.
that one amp doesn't fit everybody.
No, and the thing is, that's a great point because I talk to people about that all the time because people tell me
10
I gotta check
guys
out this
plug in the
amp.
same amp sounds like 10 different amps.
Yeah, and you got to check this out. You got to check this out. And I feel like saying, do you pick hard or light? What?
Right.
Well, do you pick hard or do you pick like a wussy? And well, I pick light. Then I'm not gonna like the amp. 'Cause
A
I
lot of
pick
guys
hard.
say, I pick like a wussy.
A lot of people.
Do they cop to that?
Yeah, no. But so I talked to Dave about two things. I really love the Brown Eye, but I love the gain. I'd love a gain cut, and I was probably
Right.
the first guy on the planet.
Maybe more of a tan.
So I want a gain cut. I wanted to be a switch when I want AC/DC kind of thing,
Right.
right? Or Jimmy Page. So and then the process was like, he put one in, and I took it, and I'm like, it's not open sounding enough. It sounds a little, choked to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, why don't you bring it in? And lo and behold, it was the first time in my life I got a guitar plugged into an amp that's not in its box and it's upside down with a guy and a solder iron and alligator clips.
Yeah.
And, let's try this capacitor. Right. And let's try this. Well, it's the same value, but it's ceramic. And let's try that.
Yeah.
And they're trying all kinds of stuff. And then I'm thinking, it's a little better. It's all right. And but it's not it yet. And then, well, let me try this. And he
It's
put
like
the
going to the eye doctor, isn't it?
Right.
Better, worse, better, worse, better.
And in this case, when he put the alligator clip on one point, and then I hit an E chord, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, I want a second master volume, and he's like, why?
Yeah.
And I was
that's
like,
Dave. Why? You don't need that.
yeah, you don't need that. And I love
That's
amps to be
stupid.
simple. I don't like
Yeah.
two channels.
Right.
Because this is my clean channel, just turned down, right?
Yeah, me too.
But for all those times that I'm playing in a club where the sound guy doesn't know you, and I like
He
to
doesn't
boost
know
my
where the
own solos.
are.
Or here, he's soloing. Let me turn that.
Yeah, a bar and a half into it.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
And he's the same guy who turns the vocal off when you're not singing, so the drums don't get into the vocal mic.
Right.
And then when you start singing again, he's that guy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, everybody does these gigs. No matter where you play or what you do, you're always in that situation. So I love boosting my own solos. You can
Yeah.
boost two notes if you want. It's
Well, I
awesome.
think you and I have it in common. We were just talking a little earlier. My first guitar was a Junior,
Right.
and
Love
I
it.
played through 100-watt Marshalls.
Yeah.
And so I just play with my pinky out, and whenever we're doing sound check, I'd have the guitar on 7.
Yeah.
Now, there it is, man. There's everything.
Everything.
And so the sound man would go, great, I got it. He'd see him mark the board, and then you do a solo. You got your thing.
Yeah.
It's and
it's tricky sometimes with juniors because depending on the year, they use different volume pots, right?
right. Mine's a 63, the very first one.
So is it 500 or 250?
Those are 500s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, those are cool. You can turn them down.
You can roll
when you
them
have
down
a
to
250,
Yeah.
they get nice and bright when you turn them down, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
7 wasn't beefy enough for me. So I love having that master volume.
Well, I thought mine was a 500.
But it was
Mine turns into an acoustic guitar when you turn it down to 2. I mean,
See?
it's just like,
Well, they're all acoustic at 0, right?
yeah. But
But
I
anyways,
said to my wife,
and it was funny because when I finally got the head, Kenny Ernoff, awesome drummer, called me up and said, "I'm doing Kenny and Friends at the Baked Potato. You want to come and play?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Great, I'm bringing my head." And then I was like, I'm playing. Time for the solo. I switched to the second master, and I noticed not only did I love being a little louder and hearing
Yeah.
the solo, but so did the audience.
yeah.
They're all going,
They responded. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm like, see, why wouldn't you want a second master volume?
Right. Did
Yeah.
you come back and go, see, Dave?
Yeah.
I told you. Well, that's cool. I know it's one of his more popular models, but yeah, that's I do the same thing with my customers, and Dave's that way too. It's like, the amps you make for production are sort of throwing the widest net possible,
Right.
so you can sell them.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like,
then-
I don't want an effects loop. I got to put in an effects loop. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Put
But
it
if
in
you want a tighter bottom end, you want less, the treble's annoying the way you play, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's easy to massage.
Yeah.
Or the gain levels and everything. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's fun. And I meant for us to plug one of those in today, and I just got running late. So
We'll have to do it next time.
that's my easy excuse to say, why don't we come back and we'll have a Phil X amp day
Cool.
on the show, and we'll mic up the loud room properly. Because right now we got a cabinet off in the corner, and it's very primitive. YJM, Malmsteen, yeah, Mr. Pinky.
Oh, yeah, with the volume.
There's so many dirty jokes there that I'm leaving. But
Yep. And one of the jokes has the word stinky in it.
that's why they call him the Shocker.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, primitive is good. For me, I mean, I'm of a certain age. Phil and I are both 39, metric. And that's just the way I learned how to play guitar.
Yeah.
If you had to, half the time I didn't have sound, man.
Well, it's an amazing thing, and I the way I play, I guess it's because I love the fact that when you have a really cool guitar with a P90 and a really good amp that's very, very subtle,
yeah.
subtly that
Responsive.
is responsive. That's the
Yeah.
word I was looking for. And when you don't even have to touch the volume, but you play light and
Yeah,
it's
your right
clear,
hand can do everything.
and then you hit it hard and you're rocking. So I try to instill that kind of experience into the younger guitar player that thinks they need like 200 pedals to get all the sounds when there's so much more that you can do with your hands.
Yeah, I tell a lot of guys, I used to teach when I was an IT guy. I gave guitar lessons on the side. And I battle guys, not that I'm an anti-pedal board guy, but I personally don't use many pedals.
Yeah.
But I said, look, when you got 2 pickups and 4 knobs and a 3-way switch, let's explore all those options first.
Right.
I want you to be completely verbose on what to do with this guitar. Even, okay, you're comfortable in the middle position with the neck pickup rolled back to 7. Now what does it sound like when you pick at the bridge versus at the neck?
Exactly.
Or what if you get up on the fretboard with your right hand? Now let's do it with a heavy pick and a medium
Right.
pick, and I want you to plow through that damn thing.
Yeah.
You've got 50 sounds in a guitar.
Well,
already.
I remember
Yeah.
even on tour when you least expect it, they call out a different song,
Yeah,
and there's no time for a guitar change,
right,
and you got a P90, and you need more of a tele sound,
right.
and I would just
Pick it back on the bridge and roll it back a little bit.
and it totally worked.
And it gets
and the
plain
guitar
as
tech
hell.
goes, "How'd you do that?"
I play guitar.
See, playing guitar isn't just playing guitar.
Right. Well, I
it's
always-
playing the instrument.
That's right. I always make the distinction between someone who's a guitar player and someone that plays guitar.
Right.
It's like I play tennis, but I'm not a tennis player. You know what I mean? Like,
I mow the lawn, but I'm not a lawnmower.
yeah. I can plunge the toilet, but anyway.
All right.
You know what I mean? But it's like there's a lot in the instrument. It was really fun. So let's back up a little bit. For the guys that don't know, I'm sure most of the guys here do, but I'm sure there's some like, you were born in a sharecropper's shack in Mississippi playing the blues. No, you're from Toronto, Canada, right?
From Toronto, Canada.
A lot of guys think of you as this LA guy,
I know.
when in fact you're Canuck.
Which is funny. But what happens is YouTube is such a wild animal.
Right.
And it's been like my best friend over the last few years.
Sort of
it's
a
been
fire
really
hose
amazing
sometimes, yeah.
for getting gigs and creating a following and being able to network. Hey, I got a new CD coming out, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's an
you can make your
amazing
brand
tool.
on there.
It's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
But what happens is you get like this thing once you start getting into the millions of views kind of thing. People try to claim you.
Ah.
He's Canadian. Well, he lives in the States, so now he's American. Yeah, but he's Greek. Which is true. My parents were Greek. I was first generation Canadian.
Oh, they're Greek immigrants.
So I am
Yeah.
Spartan,
Right.
I don't have the abs, but I have the skill. Watch out. But
You got the hat.
and I'm working on the beard. But the funny thing is it's funny how, and then after all that and people trying to claim you and stuff like that, which is actually kind
That's
of
flattering.
It is
Yeah,
flattering.
that's nice.
Then I'm reading an interview that I did in a magazine, and the opening line was, I can't do it exact, but it was along the lines of, it was something like, Canadian living in America with a Greek ethnic background, Phil X. It's like, I got to find it so I can actually get it tattooed on my
He plays
arm.
guitar. Yeah.
Right.
But
I got to, that's
you're a
funny.
Canadian immigrant, son of Greek immigrants.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's not important. I'm more saying your guitar.
See?
So, like, for all the guys out there, like, let's cover the basics. Like, when did you start playing guitar? What inspired you to go, fuck, I want to do that?
My dad. It was my dad and Elvis.
Oh, nice.
Well, because Elvis got girls.
And your dad knew Elvis?
No.
Oh.
But he was Elvis.
Oh, right.
When, like, my dad played bouzouki.
Yeah.
He
Which
wasn't.
is incredibly difficult.
It is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And he,
Really fun when you're drinking a lot of Ouzo.
he actually, he knew like 1,000 old folk songs
That's
from the
super
40s.
wide,
But he knew he could play melodies. He was really bad with chords. He was a soloist slash melody player, and he would play. But when my family,
Was he a gigging musician?
no, not at all. When we went anywhere with his bouzouki, it was like Elvis was in the building.
Yeah.
Because he could keep everybody singing until 5 o'clock in the morning.
He was a pipe
all the
piper.
kids are on the couch.
Yeah,
sleeping,
right.
Passed out downstairs, and he's playing and singing. Everybody's singing along, and in those moments, those childhood moments for me are like,
Oh, yeah.
music is so powerful.
It's burned.
Like
Yeah.
people would sing old folk songs and cry, and then the Elvis thing came in where and my dad, I believe he wanted me to be a musician, and it changes into something else. But my dad, I think he wanted accompaniment.
Yeah, right.
So,
He was-
Phil, you're going to play guitar, kind of thing. When I was
a
5.
compadre, yeah.
But my dad, it was very modest in the beginning. My dad, my mom, 4 kids, and sometimes my grandparents in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And Dad, I want an electric guitar. And he said, "You're 5." And I was like,
You're 5 years old. You're
"But
already
Dad,
got
I want an
the-
electric guitar." And what does he do? The modest income, the huge family in a tight space buys me an electric guitar.
Nice.
I don't remember what it was. It was a knockoff of a Vox Teardrop,
Ooh,
hollow body.
dead
with
sexy.
not an F hole. It was more like a G hole. But anyways, the whole point is I could barely hold it.
Yeah.
But he bought a 5-year-old electric guitar because he
That's
had the
awesome.
interest in it.
Yeah.
So once I could hold it, it just went crazy after that. I started playing 3 chords, and I learned every song with 3 chords.
Right.
And then my dad, he wanted to push me. He pushed me and pushed me, and I was 8 at a big Fat Creek wedding. And he's like, "Why don't you get up and sing a couple of Elvis songs?" I'm like, "Dad, there's a lot of people here."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Look,
I'm 7. Fuck.
yeah, I think you should just do it." I'm like, "All right." And that's the beginning,
Yeah.
He told the band, he walked over to the band, "Hey, my son wants to play a couple of songs." And they're like eating, they're on the break.
Right.
And they're like, "Well, he can wait till we're done and we'll play with him." He goes, "No, he's playing by himself." And I'm like,
He's Colonel Tom to the Elvis.
right? Yeah. So I get on stage and I play like Blue Suede Shoes and Teddy Bear or something like that.
Nice.
And they're,
That's so fun.
Pop."
Elvis was a huge thing when I was getting started because I had all my parents' records. My
Right.
parents were teenagers in the 50s.
See?
And it was literally like I got my first little close and play
Yeah.
record player,
Yeah.
like first grade, kindergarten.
Awesome.
And my dad brings out this huge box. Like
Of
here's
records.
everything that was cool from the 50s.
That's
and he had
incredible.
moved past because by that time they were listening to the Beatles and the
Yeah.
Rolling Stones and, 1970, whatever.
Yeah.
And, it's like, and he had them organized. There's Elvis, Fats Domino, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry.
You know who's great from that
Dwayne
time?
Eddy.
Like obviously Chuck Berry,
Yeah.
and he's the more known guy. But the guy that played guitar for Bill Haley and the Comets
Right.
was incredible.
I forget his name. I just saw some show about him. Somebody did a little quick 20-minute thing about him.
He was doing crazy
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, even the solo on Rock Around the Clock.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah,
Super
that's
nuts.
pretty crazy stuff.
That's nuts.
But it sounds like it's left over from like the Gene Krupa swing
Yeah,
era,
yeah. And the funny thing was, is every song anyway.
Yeah, right. Total like Django licks. Right. Yeah.
I mean, I bought a Bill Haley and the Comets live cassette,
Yeah.
and every song ended with that lick.
Yeah,
Every song.
Yeah.
So
Total jazz. one.
sometimes it swung and sometimes it didn't, but it was always there. And that's kind of funny. But
That stuff's amazing though. But
Yeah.
that hypnotic power that those guys seem to have over kids,
yeah.
that was attractive when I was a young guy. Like,
Oh yeah. So I mean,
everyone's focused on these people
Right.
and appreciating what they're doing.
but I think it's good to go back and listen to old stuff, and
Oh, absolutely.
because you get so much from it. And like I have a friend. His name is Lou. He works at a store in Toronto, Chaos Music Center, and
Uh-huh.
I'm dropping it.
Hey, Lou.
And if a kid comes in and is a huge Frusciante fan,
Mm-hmm.
John Frusciante,
Not
he's-
his brother Murray.
right?
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you know Hendrix?" And the kid will be like, "Nah." He goes, "You need to listen to this."
Yeah.
And he gives him a CD out of his collection.
Right.
And then the kid comes back the next week losing his mind.
Right.
Because it's great to listen to, you have your favorite guitar player, but listen to what he listened to and got him to where he
Right.
is.
Well, I was gonna say I had a guy like that in my hometown, and I'd go in and ask for Hendrix,
Right.
and he'd say, "Do you know Buddy Guy in West Montgomery?"
Right.
And I go, "No." He says, "Well, here, you should listen to this." And,
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and here's Freddie King, and
Right.
here, like you trace it back, but just like any art form, if you're going to be a writer, you're very familiar with everything that led up to the modern style you're in.
Right.
If you're an artist, same thing. You're very familiar with all the masters going all the way back. But for guitar
Right.
players, for some reason, they just go, "No, I'm a Van Halen guy." Well,
Well, Eddie was into a lot of guys.
yeah, I mean, I remember
And
the
you hear
first
it.
interview I read with him in Guitar Player. He said his favorite guitar player was Clapton,
Yeah.
and the guy even said, You play nothing like Clapton. He goes, yeah, I kind of do. It's just a lot faster.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the funny things too is,
Yeah.
but you hear Billy Gibbons in his playing
Yeah.
because of the boogie,
Right.
right? They just turned
Yo,
into
he's
a
got
hyper boogie.
He's got swing like nobody's business.
Yo, man, nobody plays "I'm the One," right?
But his dad was a jazz guy, right?
Yeah.
So he knows pocket and swing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But like my grandfather was a Dixieland trumpeter.
Wow.
And my grandfather's one that turned me on to B.B. King.
See?
And I'm like, why? How did you? He goes, no, because B.B. King says his guitar solos are all based on Louis Armstrong solos.
Wow.
And he goes, and he listened to it. My grandfather had all Louis Armstrong records, and he could play them. And
Right.
Louis Armstrong was his idol.
That's crazy.
And he could sit down there and play these licks, and he goes, now play this on the guitar. And I go, shit, that's B.B. King. It's the same thing.
Wow.
You know, and then...
But that's what music's amazing.
Right.
And you know, I'm not afraid to incorporate my influences into my songs, into
Right.
my riffs. And oh man, that sounds a little like Zeppelin. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I grew up on Zeppelin.
Sure.
And
the guys at NMB Live are saying John Kay from Bill Haley in the Comments is a member.
thank you,
On NMB.
John Kay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right on.
But anyway, yeah, it's fun. So, okay, so you're 7 years old playing.
Well, I mean,
With
it
a
went.
band or whatever.
I'm going to jump to 11 because
Okay.
between 7 and 11, maybe learn one or two more chords. Because
Yeah.
you're a kid, and I'm
Right.
accompanying my dad when he plays bouzouki at these
You're
parties.
just being a kid.
Exactly. So when I was 11, though, you're in, I don't know, the 6th grade talent show, and I actually played I played like Hotel California,
Right.
and I think Magic by
Did you do that
ELO.
with the bouzouki?
No, I played guitar.
That'd be a
I-
good bouzouki song.
Well, it would be when I was 11 and my dad wanted me to learn bouzouki, I hated bouzouki.
Yeah.
But later on, when I was 17, I thought, if I learn some shit on bouzouki
Right.
and apply it to my picking and guitar,
So your brain,
that's going to give me something.
your brain is uber comfortable with those fast staccato lines. That,
Yeah.
you know, like when you hear someone, because I hear you play, to me, you play amazingly fast, which in itself isn't incredibly unique, but what is unique in the way that you play fast is you do it with such apparent ease and comfort. Like you're not trying to rip.
Holy shit, I got you fooled.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I mean, you see a lot of guys that play fast, but when they do it, they go, you know, and you can
Yeah.
hear that they're keeping up. And you just kind of, your brain moves that way, I think. It seems like,
Yeah, but you know what? There is a comfort to it, but there is, you know,
I know you
like
practice your ass off too. Yeah.
Well, we did, right? And you probably
Yeah.
did too. I think my practicing was in my later teens.
Right. When you had time.
When I had 8 hours a day, and I would go do a 45 minute set with a band, and
Yeah.
when they went to party, I would go in my room, my guitar, and woodshed until.
Were
the
you always the
morning.
guy that brought his guitar to a party?
No, because I hate that guy. I'm like,
Well, I guess I'll just be done now.
but
No,
if
but
I,
I mean-
could go to a party and there'd be, I always wished I could play piano.
Yeah, but-
Because there's always a piano at a party,
Right.
and I could Elton John the fuck out. And people would go, "Whoa!" But guitar-wise, you got nothing to plug into. People can talk over the acoustic.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
I was the guy in ninth grade that I brought my guitar, and my buddy brought his guitar, and we'd sit in the back. And then all the guys were out front going, those two assholes, because we're in the back with all the girls.
right.
You know?
Yeah, see, that's a good thing too. And that's what happened in grade 11. I played 3 songs, and then at recess, girls tore my clothes off, and I thought, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then you flash forward into like telling my dad I don't want to go to college and I want to jump into a band with a bunch of guys and play in a 500-mile vicinity
Yeah.
for a while. And he was like, "You're not doing that." I'm like, "Dad, you always wanted me to be a musician." And he
Right.
goes, "I didn't want you to be professional.
Not like this.
You need to get an education and a job."
Yeah.
But anyways, I got a job now. But the whole point of this whole
Did you hear
music
that,
thing
Mr. X?
was he's not around. Well, he's hearing it from
Oh,
up
I'm
there.
sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always looking down and
Right.
smiling. And this is, I love to explain this. This recently happened to me being almost 50
Yeah.
and playing guitar my entire life. And how music is powerful. And I've said it before in other videos. People are probably getting tired of it. But I recently got to jam with Derek St. Holmes,
Yeah.
who
I know
is-
Derek really well, actually.
and he's such a
fun.
great guy and,
And he's
a
such
fun
old
guy
school rock.
and such a talented motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Google him because he's got one of the greatest rock voices in the world.
Well, I guess he's most known for "Hey Baby,"
Well,
which he wrote.
I think
when he was
Stranglehold
singing.
has been in almost every movie in the last 20 years.
That's true.
So that's the voice that I think more people connect to.
Yeah,
Now there's another song
I actually
called.
worked with him at a music store in Atlanta for a while.
I'm gonna forget you said that because
Why?
he never worked at a music store.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
When he was,
You get my point, right?
oh yeah, I'm not hurting anything. Trust me. Derek
No,
will tell
I'm just
you the
kidding. I'm
story.
just kidding. But
No, but he was like, we were sales guys selling guitars, and yeah, he had some lean years, and it was in Atlanta. He worked at Rhythm City with Peter,
dude,
with Peter Stroud.
I dug holes in my lean years. Okay, go ahead.
And we always knew, like, Derek's in the back closing the deal because he's in there singing a Ted Nugent song
Right.
over the guy playing guitar with no PA system, and we could hear him.
Yeah.
Like he's just shaking the walls acoustically.
Well, for my story is basically
I'm sorry,
no,
your story.
it's cool. That's fine. You can interrupt me anytime you want. My story
Sorry,
is,
what?
is that there's another song called Just What the Doctor Ordered.
Mhm.
And so Derek and I and a whole bunch of other guys and girls are in this documentary coming out called Hired Gun. So what the producers did was they took all these anybody that could come to LA or be in LA that was available, and they stuck us at East West Studios
Nice.
where we could record some jams and stuff like that. So I jammed Brad Gillis,
Yeah.
which was really cool. Liberty DeVito,
I know Liberty too really well. Yeah.
and dude, he's a motherfucker on drums, man.
Because Liberty and Peter and Derek do a lot of those Camp Jam things together.
Oh right. Yeah.
And Liberty's a monster.
He's
And he's like
so
60 or
fun.
something.
I know, and he's he plays like a kid, and he's funny.
Yeah.
And I love that about the guy. The funny thing about the Derek thing is
That's
he goes,
Billy Joel's drummer.
yes,
You
for
guys-
many years.
Yeah.
Derek's like, I want to do just what the doctor ordered, and I'm like, I'll do that.
Yes, sir.
And this is the power of music. Time travel.
Right.
So he starts singing, and I'm playing guitar, and all of a sudden, I'm 11
Yeah.
in my dad's basement on my first secondhand Strat, dropping the needle on Double Live Gonzo
Yeah,
on
right.
vinyl,
Yeah, yeah.
learning that song.
Sure.
And it was surreal. And everybody's like, "You right?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm 11."
I'm special.
You know?
Yeah, well, I had one of those moments at NAMM. Derek came into our booth. You were there, Dave's booth next
Yeah.
door, and we had a little PA system in there
Nice.
and a drum set, and we were jamming, and Buck Dharma came in.
I got to jam with him a couple of weeks ago too.
Yeah.
You go first.
No, it's okay. And so Buck's in there playing, and we're playing Blue Oyster Cult songs.
Yeah.
And it was Peter.
I didn't know he sang a lot of those songs.
Yeah,
don't know.
and Kurt Biscara that plays drums with Sarah McLaughlin and a bunch of
Yeah.
other people. And he was in there playing. And all of a sudden, Derek runs in, and we start playing Don't Fear the Reaper. And Derek's singing it, and I'm playing it with Buck Dharma.
Man.
It was absolutely fantastic. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the basement in Columbia, Missouri, looking at snow and dropping
Yeah.
the needle in with my SG or my Junior, trying to figure out songs. It was incredible. And those guys are so used to it. They look at you and they go,
Well, you know
you know,
what's
like they see it on your face. And he's very generous. Like,
yeah, you know, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm meeting all these people, and it's funny because Google is an incredible, not only like a wealth of information,
Right.
but think about it. So
You're Mr. Spock.
Brad Gillis,
Right?
right? And as an example, Brad Gillis, he's like, well, who's this Phil X guy? Right? We're going to be in a documentary together. They want us to jam together. I'm going to Google him.
Right.
So he Googles me.
You're like,
and then
related to
when
Malcolm.
you Google Phil X, somebody cracked a joke like that the other day.
You haven't heard that 1,000 times in your life?
998.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So he, and when you Google Phil X, maybe 38 videos pop up or 38
Yeah.
pages, or I don't know what the hell it
Yeah.
is. So,
10,000
but
results.
to sift through stuff takes some time.
Right.
So he came up to me, and when we were doing the thing, and he goes, "Phil, I saw this video of you doing Little Wayne," and he described
Right.
the journey that I went on when
so
I played it.
you touched him.
And he was like, "I'm a huge Hendrix fan," and then you
Yeah.
gave me the props thing, and I'm like,
Thanks, Brad.
"Speak of the devil, man! You
right,
know,
exactly.
remember that?"
Yeah.
Like, it's Brad Gillis. So, and the same thing, you don't know who's going to see you. And some people come up to me, some people that I know that I don't know they know of me. They're like, hey, man, I love your videos. I'm like, I've been listening to you for
I watch
years.
a lot of your videos.
Well, they can be, entertaining. Sort of.
Well, I mean, like, I think Brian actually forwarded me one recently of one of your baked potato gigs. And I was telling you about that the last
Yeah.
time we spoke. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, I was there when you were playing with Kenny.
See? That was the night.
Yeah.
I boosted my own solos.
Yeah, right. Perfect.
So, but it's funny because same thing with Buck Dharma, where I guess he must have Googled me. He didn't say anything. Very, very soft spoken.
Yeah.
Amazing guitar player. He got up and jammed.
He's a gentle dude.
and he
yeah.
cares. Like it was Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp in Vegas, and the guys show up and they do a Blue Oyster Song Call with all the bands that are
Right.
collected with the counselors, and then they do a performance that night, and he came and he got up and jammed with the counselors,
Yeah.
and he was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he sat out for a bit, and I sang Funk 49, and he came up to me, Phil, I didn't know you could sing like that. And it's like everybody knows Phil the guitar player.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people know Phil the singer, but I grew up playing guitar. Singing is my second thing, if I could
Right.
even put it there.
Yeah.
But someone asked me the other day because
But you are a good singer, though, because I only know
Thanks,
you for your
man.
guitar playing. And then as I started watching, I watched some stuff so that when I wasn't stupid when we were speaking today as well.
well,
I'm like, damn, the dude can blow as good as most frontmen can.
well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Well, I do. One thing that I am proud of is that I can sing the shit out of Back in Black,
Oh,
because you could be
that's no small order.
you could be anywhere.
Yeah, and play.
And if your band's taking a dive, like I don't think I've been.
Going to ACD.
I haven't been in a band that's taken a dive in a really long time.
Yeah.
But if people are waiting for the DJ to kick in, the
Right.
hip hop, and you're rocking out, and the guitar players are going crazy, and the drummers and the bass players are going crazy, but everybody else doesn't give a shit.
Right.
You go into Back in Black, that room
Everybody's, yeah,
is gonna bounce
yeah. Oh,
to
absolutely.
Back in Black.
Yeah.
And everybody and people come out of the bathrooms at that point,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
cleaning off their
ACDC is always good for that. And my band, when I was a kid, our like wake up the audience song was Jailbreak.
Oh wow.
Because it doesn't
That's
matter
awesome.
what's going on, you can
Yeah.
always get everyone in the place screaming Jailbreak. It's
Totally.
easy. Well, okay. So let's see. You're 11.
7, 11,
Yeah.
17.
When did you start gigging? When did you start I'm going to go out and join a band. I'm going to go out and start playing gigs and.
I think it was like our first paying gig. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did parties. We did house parties.
But like I walked into a bar and said, "My name's Phil. I have a band. I want to play here."
No, we got an agent early. Like we were 16 or 17. No, I think you could perform in a bar if you're 18 in Canada.
Yeah, it was the same here. You could go in if you were 18.
And so we got an agent pretty quick because he
Yeah.
booked us at this place called the Coronet Hotel in Kitchener, and he saw us and he's like, "Wow, I could make some money with these guys."
Yeah.
And they'll work for cheap because they're a 3-piece. We were always a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Actually, we did have a singer at one point, but and we did put out a vinyl EP that was 6 songs.
Oh, nice.
And I was going through a confused phase. Like I was Mr. Marshall,
Yeah.
a 412 cabinet, very little pedals, and then
Did you
Randy
go through the
Rhodes.
rack?
No, I never had a rack.
Oh, okay.
Randy Rhodes came out, and it was way more fuzzy and way more
Pedal.
chorusy
Yeah.
and flangey and stuff like that. So I went through a pedal phase, but I recorded the whole record with all these pedals on, and it's unlistenable to me.
What year was that?
I was 17, so like
82.
80, 87. Wasn't it?
When were you born?
No, I'm sorry. You're right.
Well, you're only
82-ish.
39. So it must-
82-ish.
yeah.
82, 83.
Well, that was chorus hell in those days.
Yeah, and now I wish I could just.
Yeah. Recover.
And there's something that you can't do with all the technology on the planet. You can't pull shit off a guitar tone
Right.
to make it sound, clearer and,
Right.
and more attacky. And
Yeah,
stuff.
you can't unfuck it.
You can't unfuck it.
Yeah.
That's my new favorite word, unfuck.
It's a verb.
So, but it's when I did that record, I was very proud to be, the sole songwriter in the band.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I think the bass player,
17 years old, yeah.
the bass player wrote some lyrics, and but in Toronto was a weird place. Because if you were in Toronto, it was really hard at the time to get out of Toronto.
Yeah.
And
How many great bands?
a lot of great bands.
We were talking the other day about Max Webster.
Max Webster.
Astonishingly good band, and almost no one in the U.S. knows who they are.
And it's, yeah, and I hate some of the references they get down here because they didn't come down here. And Kim Mitchell was such an inspiring and amazing guitar player.
And Kim's only hit in the U.S. was Might As Well Go for Soda, which might be one of his lesser tunes.
Yeah.
Because he's such a monster musician.
He's a monster musician. He had Peter
player.
Fredette in the band when he went solo, who had an amazing voice.
Right.
He was like, Peter Fredette was Kim Mitchell's Derek St. Holmes.
Yeah.
He had this voice that was awesome.
Right.
And, but the whole point is that so many bands, and it was, when you talk to those bands now, they all say, we should have moved to the States. But then you have a band like Bare Naked Ladies. This is years ago. I had already moved to LA, but they were huge in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Huge in
They
Canada,
did pretty well here.
but with one song.
Yeah.
They were a one-hit wonder. In Canada, they had album.
Right.
They all sold like crazy,
Right.
and they were throwing their own money. They said when they toured the States, they were throwing all the money that they made in Canada out the window because they were paying to tour.
Oh, really? Oh.
And then they had the big hit,
Yeah.
and then they were all right for a while, and then they tried it again.
Yeah. Right.
Repeat.
Sure.
But it's funny, a lot of Canadian bands, they never made it. Bands like, even now, Tragically Hip, they were always huge in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And they come down here and they play like little tiny clubs,
Right.
if they even bother anymore.
Right.
But me, I knew I had to get out, and it took me a while because I did a couple of Canadian things that were all right. There was one band that was called Frozen Ghost, and they had a couple of hits, and that was my first tour across Canada. And then in 91, I toured with Aldo Nova, and that was mostly the States.
Yeah.
And then I was in Triumph for a minute.
Right.
Okay, a year. But it felt like a minute.
It went by fast.
It went by fast. But it was basically a record that got shelved by the record company because of disgruntled animosity and 11 shows. And then I thought, okay, nobody knows what's going to happen now, so I'm just going to leave. So I moved to LA in 97 and I dug holes.
Yeah.
I did landscaping for a while.
Oh, you literally dug holes. Oh, this was some metaphor.
I know, there's no metaphor there. I dug holes. I planted trees. I laid lawn down. It was like, but whatever you have to do to pay rent, right?
Gardner Phil.
And then, you probably don't know this.
I used to install
Hollywood
cable
story.
when I first moved.
You have to do something.
Yeah.
99, I'm painting Scott Humphrey, the producer's garage, while he's producing Tommy Lee's Methods of Mayhem record, and they need a guitar player. So Scott's like,
You're like, hey man.
Scott's like, hey, let's get Phil. And Tommy's like, the dude painting the garage? And Scott's like, yeah. So sure enough, I come in and I pick up a Les Paul, start playing, and Tommy was like, man, you got to play on the whole record.
Perfect.
And that led to playing on Rob Zombie's next record, which led to playing on an Alice Cooper record, that is snowballed.
Yeah.
But then I get a call from this is one producer doing this stuff that branches out to another producer, and then another producer over here who was a fellow Canadian, Rain Maida from Our Lady Peace. He was producing some songs for Avril Lavigne, and he said, I want you to come and play guitar. So that grew into Kelly Clarkson, into something else.
Right.
But all this is going on, and here I am. I've just played 10 songs in an Avril Lavigne record.
Yeah.
And Atlantic, I think it was, is taking forever to send a check. And
Wait a minute, you're saying the record company?
I'm
Hang on a second.
I'm working for a messenger service again.
Yeah.
Having played on all these records.
Yeah.
Still working for a messenger service and figuring out that, wait a minute, I'm not making that much working here. So working for a messenger service and still painting houses and going to plant trees.
It's an LA story.
It is.
Yeah.
So, and it took a while until all I was doing was making music. And then when that occurred, it didn't even sink in.
Yeah.
I was doing a session with another guy who had a day job, and
You
he
stay
goes,
in touch with like your Gardner buddies just in case.
my Gardner buddies are in the biggest metal band in America right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know if they want me to talk about it. But it's funny.
Fair enough.
We're the three of us.
No, but I mean, just
that were
paranoia,
digging holes.
Like the phone could quit ringing. So hey, man, I still got my tools and shit.
No, I don't never want to do that again. But it's a good joke. The three of us working for $10 an hour. Not only doing landscaping and stuff like that, but cleaning. This guy had a cockatoo and 3 parrots, and cleaning
Cages.
cages that are the size of bigger than that road case over there.
Nice.
And then, but the three of us, and then flash forward.
Did you smoke a lot of pot?
No, never. I've never. Flash forward to 2013 when they're in the biggest metal band headlining tours all over the world
Yeah.
and multi-million selling records, which doesn't happen that much.
Yeah,
and
that's-
I'm on the
that's
road
odd
with
these
Bon
days.
Jovi.
Right.
So you never know where life's going to take you.
Yeah.
But it all, obviously, we were destined for greatness
Right.
while we were
And you
cleaning
paid your
bird
dues.
shit.
Yeah, right. You were literally shoveling shit.
Yeah.
Well, then you paid your dues.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where you and I ran into each other the first time, is when you started taking over Richie's road duties
Yeah.
in the band. What year was that? Like 2008?
2011 was the first time.
Okay,
I did 13
right.
shows. And then Richie came back and all was well, right?
Yeah.
And then 2013, I thought it was going to be a repeat. 2013, hey, we need you in Calgary tonight.
Yeah.
Wait, tonight is tonight.
Right. Tonight, like tomorrow?
Yeah, how's that going to work? Well, there's a car at your house and a jet at the
Look outside. Meet me.
yeah, and a jet at the no, I was at Trader Joe's. I had to get home.
Yeah.
So rushed to Trader Joe's. My friend Mark Van Gool, you probably know him too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Ran to Howard Benson's studio to pick up the guitars because I was in the middle of working on Scott Stapp's record.
Mm-hmm.
So all my guitars are there. Mark, please meet me at the Van Nuys Signature Airport with my guitar. This list of
So you had to
guitars.
fly private up to Calgary and
It was yeah.
walk
So
on stage.
I didn't walk on stage because I had to change. There was jet funk, which happens.
Yeah.
I'm in the jet, guitars ready to go. My laptop opened and the first song to review,
Oh.
and they're like, "Sir, we're gonna have to change planes." I'm like, "Okay, I won't even ask. That's fine."
Yeah. You make the
You don't. I don't want to know really.
Yeah. Why?
This one's broken.
Yeah, his plane's broken. So, and then from jet funk to another plane that was a slower plane, but it was the only plane that was available.
Yeah.
So it got me there in 3 hours, and with the van ride to the venue, I walked out. Thank you. Good night.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So they just pulled it off without you one day.
They pulled it off without me, and I'm sure they did great.
Wow.
But then, instead of trying to review, 26 songs on a plane
Right.
with the engine over here screaming in my ear,
Yeah.
I got sound check in Edmonton the next day, which was awesome. Because John was like, "What songs you need to go over?" And then
Yeah.
we got a lengthy sound check, and that show was great.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it worked out. But I really thought it was going to be a repeat of 2011. I would do 13,
Yeah.
maybe 12 shows, and then Richie'd come back.
Pinch hit for a while.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then, we really need you to go to Europe next month. I'm like, I don't know if I want to. And they're like, you have to. I'm like, but I was if life was different. Life, my girl was pregnant,
Oh,
so we were expecting.
that's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to miss.
Yeah.
This is my first child. I don't want to miss the birth. I don't want to miss the classes. I don't want to miss the
Right.
stuff.
Unless we're talking about a lot.
And then the business chain stepped in, and it was good.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. They treated me amazing. It was an amazing experience.
It's a really
because
nice organization.
It is.
and it's just very
the people are
family.
incredible.
Like you're
Yeah.
in the bubble. You're
It
part
is.
of the family there.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fun. Exciting. So one of the things, we've been on for 45 minutes, and I'm sure maybe half the people here are thinking, when the fuck is Phil going to play guitar? So should we take a musical interlude?
Wait.
Smoke them if you got them, boys. Yeah, no, that's fine. So, all right, so, dumb question. Like, I'm trying to think of the questions a lot of these guys would want to ask you.
Okay.
So, like, your home base is Zeppelin and AC/DC.
Yeah.
When you pick up a guitar in the morning, what comes out naturally with no thought?
I've been writing a lot lately because I'm working on the new Drills record,
Yeah.
which is we should talk about that too. But
I want to talk about your documentary.
and that's gonna be awesome too.
Yeah.
It's
It's called Let the Drummer Pick.
well, how many for dinner, sir? 4 and a drummer.
You have a high chair for the drummer.
So, the documentary is going, and it will be fantastic, and an amazing insight to recording with 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever it's going to be.
So you get a little
drummers.
peek behind the curtains of the culture and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I love to. I review songs that I've already written and make sure I can still play the riffs.
Yeah.
So when I pick up a guitar, like I go through phases like anybody else. So there's a song that's like, wait. So I got to remember I get
Nice. Yeah, that might take a little practice.
yeah. So I fucked up one already, and then I have something that's really I have
I'll
some
let
really
you
heavy
overdub
stuff.
that part.
We don't fix anything. This is real, baby. So it's and I have stuff like that, and I have stuff that's like I wrote a song that I'm very inspired and influenced by Eddie Van Halen, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm the one-ish kind of hyper boogie with Glenn Sobel on drums.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. But I did this, and we recorded it live off the floor because it had to be like Van Halen.
Where'd you record it?
We did that at Tommy Lee's place, the
okay.
Atrium Studios. And we had 2 drummers that day. I believe it was Matt Chamberlain came in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my Zeppelin, AC/DC. There's a song like... And then the bridge goes... That kind of thing, right?
Nice.
And this is like, it's like takes me back to like snorting whiskey,
Right.
right?
Are you a big Pat
Travers.
Pat Travers
Yeah,
fan?
totally.
Man,
That's
I
all
used,
that stuff.
I just wanted to be Pat Thrall so much.
When you're a kid
Yeah.
and you don't have YouTube and you don't have,
I had that live record.
I know.
Snorting Whiskey and
well, snorting whiskey actually isn't on it. It's Boom Boom Out Go the Lights. That
Oh, yeah,
one?
yeah.
Oh, Go For What You Know. Snorting whiskey's
Right.
not on it.
And I wore that out on headphones.
I know,
just
me
laying
too.
in my room going, oh my God.
But I couldn't. Sometimes I couldn't figure out which Pat it was.
Right.
And
they're
that
so
was
good.
magical to me. I thought, wow, he's a great guitar player, and he got another great guitar player.
And I got to play guitar with Pat Thrall like 7 or 8
Oh,
years
see,
ago.
he's
I walked
incredible.
into, it was a weird place too. It was Chalice
Yeah.
on Highland.
What's it
And
called?
Chalice Studios. It's
Oh, okay.
kind of a hip hop joint.
Okay.
Very, very much a hip hop joint. And this neighbor of mine, this guy, another Greek dude, Emmanuel Kyriakou, do you know E-Man?
No.
Yeah, he does a lot of big, like, pop rock records,
Okay.
And I walk in there, and I'm talking to this guy, and he introduces him as Pat. And, I hadn't seen a picture of him since the 70s. And I'm talking to him, and na-na-na-na-na. And E-Man says, oh, yeah, did you ever listen to Pat Travers? And I went, oh, yeah, I fucking loved Pat Travers. And he goes, that's the dude. And I went, Pat, that's Pat Thrall?
Wow.
Oh my God. And he was the nicest guy. I think he lives in Vegas now. And,
Yeah.
Nicest dude. And we ended up sitting down and jamming, playing guitar. And he was just the sweetest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And he still plays great. Still does all of it.
Well, I last time I saw him was with Meatloaf
Yeah.
in the late '90s, I think it was, and
It'd be like him and Bob Kulick playing.
it was pretty. He was like taking solos that were insane.
Yeah.
Even then.
Really outside.
And I
the
met him
picture.
backstage too
Yeah.
because we had friends that were on the tour.
Right. I
Yeah,
love
pretty
that.
Yeah.
That's
But,
cool. Most people don't even know who Pat Travers or Pat Thrall are.
Oh man.
They're such treasures. Those records are
Totally.
so good.
And you know what? It's one of those things that when you hear snorting whiskey, another chorusy vibe, chorusy,
Flan.
Heavy.
Big giant flan.
yeah,
Isn't it? Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And and I love that like that. And there's
And there's like a dude on a moog going,
yeah, that's all kind of stuff
like
going on.
the Johnny Edgar Winter.
I love that stuff. So I get a lot of inspiration from when I'm working on tunes like that.
Yeah.
And then vocally, it's gonna come out in every aspect of your. I'm not gonna recreate music.
Sure. Well,
I'm
you're
gonna
not
take
really
my
a mimic,
influences.
are you? I mean, when I hear you play, I don't hear you sound like a mimic. I hear you sound like you're inspired by something.
Well, I think all the inspirations are going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay, this is what I do. You know, when everybody hits a rut. So some people try different tunings and different things to get out of that rut. I take stuff that I know and I just do it like how Phil would do it. So I hadn't tapped in forever.
You ever think like, how would Dad play this on the bouzouki?
No. Because I was when I got really good, I was way better than that.
Oh, okay.
He was like Keith Richards on bouzouki. I was like Eddie Van Halen on bouzouki. It's kind of like that.
Look, it's a great song. It is.
So just to give you an idea, there's that like that Eddie does. It's like a right.
I've heard.
So he does that like in Eruption, and he does that lick in I'm the One, and he does a lick in You Really Got Me.
Yeah.
So when people go, man, you did that lick in that song, I'm like, okay, shut up. That's bottom line. Shut up. So I love the phrasing, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I'll do it in the same register. Actually, I can't do it in the same register. So I'll do it up here. So I would do. I had this lick that was like, and it would be like, well, what if I did the Eddie lick and took that? So it was like, so,
Fantastic.
and I do that in a song called Sunny Days by the Trails on the first EP. So, and I do that kind of thing where that's how I get out of my rut. And,
Yeah.
and another thing is
twist it
I always go
around.
back to Eddie, right? Because
Yeah.
I
Is that
figure
home base for
he
you
does
now?
this. Well, the early stuff, right?
Yeah,
The first
yeah.
4 records changed my life.
All the Dave records.
And because I'm old, I saw them with Dave
Careful.
4 times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I saw the Women and Children First tour,
Yes.
the Fair Warning tour, the Diver Down tour, and the 1984 tour.
Van Halen 2 on. I
Yeah.
didn't see them when they were warming up for somebody else, but
Yeah, and that changed my life.
Oh,
but
totally.
even though I was young, I realized that okay, Ed's Ed. I
Right.
can't be Ed. I'm not going to be a
even
clone
Ed
or a
doesn't
mimic.
sound like Ed then.
No, he
You
doesn't.
know, he doesn't.
No.
He can't imitate himself 35 years ago.
Yeah. But I just knew then that I had to become my own guy. But this is what I do. Ruts in the last couple of years have been like again a tapping thing. How can I do Eruption without tapping?
Right.
So it's just like
Right.
and this is I love sharing this because even I couldn't do it.
Sure.
And I probably can't do it now because it's been a long time. But I started picking it like. The kind of thing,
It's
right?
fantastic.
And then I would do my lick. That kind of thing.
Open the guitar up and go for it. Let's hear the whole thing.
It sounds better like this, actually. It sounds way sloppier when I turn it up. But
Yeah, give it,
the point is,
let it eat for a minute.
this is easy for me. This was a bitch.
Yeah.
Because my fingers don't want to do that.
Well, you're going lateral.
And then you got to do it again. So that my fingers were like, fuck you. I don't do that. So you know what I do? Now I've gone from rut to frustrated. So what can I do to make this difference? How can I get around it first?
Yeah.
So how else can I do it? Nope.
What's another voice? Yeah.
But then I went to. But this sounds completely different.
Yeah, then you're getting into
Stupid.
Thunderstruck at that
Right.
point. Yeah.
So what do? Okay, don't be frustrated and come up with new licks,
Right.
but sit in front of the TV for 2 hours and just go. And that's what I had to do.
And your wife is good with that?
She's fine with that.
Wow, you married well. That's
I
great.
did. She's great. And
Yeah.
she did, even when she was pregnant and I got the call for Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
and
She's like, get out of here.
she's like, when are you leaving? There's going to be a car at the house in an hour.
In an hour?
And I'm on the phone, right? I'm going,
Yeah,
like this.
right.
and she's like, oh, do you need me to pick up anything or do your laundry or anything? I'm like, I'm going to marry this girl.
I love you.
First, you're at Trader Joe's going, hey,
Yeah.
I got a phone call from
Everybody be quiet. Bon Jovi's on the phone.
And then it's like, oh, my girl, she's amazing. Yeah, it was really fantastic.
That's great.
It was
Yeah, I married well too. I know it's
Good for you.
I'm
it's a
lucky.
club. It's a club.
It is, man. When you find it, well, she was the first girl I've ever met that at some point didn't say the death phrase. You love that guitar more than you love me. She's never said that. And because every girl that did say that, my knee-jerk answer was, I didn't, but I do now.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? This is a piece of wood that vibrates. You're a human being. If you're jealous of this,
Yeah.
Yeah. We have bigger issues.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's only the beginning. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's scratching
that's
the surface.
a little peek into craziness.
Yeah, totally. So, but I love how, there's so many things. And I'm going to share this too, and I've probably done this in a video too, but Eddie Van Halen, as amazing and fantastic and mind-blowing that he was when he came out, when you go study other guys like Uli Roth, who played with the Scorpions, Eddie's got some of him. That guy is playing too. And there's one lick in Sails of Charon that's in the Ice Cream Man solo.
Really?
I mean, that specific. I geek out on this shit.
And Ice Cream Man's one of the just loosey-goosey, freewheeling solos. Yeah.
So when it's in C, so I don't know if you guys know Sails of Charon. It's like. Anyways, the part in the solo is like. So at the end of Ice Cream Man,
Yeah.
right? So it's like. You guys are waiting for the scream, I know.
Do it.
But see,
I saw the meters go red when you did
and that's the
that.
cool
Great.
thing about music, man. Taking something and you hear something and it inspires you and you change it a little bit and make it yours.
I make the cooking analogy a lot.
Give it.
Well, I mean, music a lot of times is just like cooking.
Yeah.
You know, like Wolfgang Puck can get a couple of chicken breasts and some noodles and a rack of spices.
It's gonna be
And
way
do
different.
something that's really different than I do, even though they're the exact same ingredients.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it, and so a lot of great musicians, I think like a chef. Well, I like Italian food or whatever, but maybe I'd like to put a little Cholula in it. You know, and you can come up with something new that's clearly inspired or derivative of something else, but it moves forward.
Yeah.
You know, and Ed definitely did that.
Unbelievable.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Very fine. Well, it's 1:19, so we've got to wrap it up pretty quickly here. Because I got to go pick up my young ones.
Should we read some of these?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when the conversation's good, there's not that many questions. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been spinning over. It seems to be like that. Everyone's just listening.
There's a lot of people saying nice things.
Very Montrose.
The right place, the right time. I think that's
Talking
back.
to each other.
Yeah, they're communicating. Because when I first started doing the show and I didn't see questions, I'm like, no one's paying attention. But that means they're actually paying attention when they're not typing questions.
Is that
Phil needs a show on NMB. Yeah, you need a live streaming show.
what?
You could do it over here. Dave would probably let you do it.
He would.
Yeah.
Dan needs a new chef reference. What is there a secret to the old vintage $50,000 amps you show on White? Is that to me? Or to you?
YouTube. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've got a few that I've done. I mean, like
I don't think any of them are
Trainwreck and stuff like that.
$50,000.
Yeah, I've never played a $50,000 amp.
Yeah, either have I. But the secret to vintage amps is how old they are.
Right. Bacteria, age, weather.
All that stuff. You're an amp builder. You know all that stuff.
Well,
you know
also,
what?
they're made out of things that don't exist anymore.
I know.
So-
We tried. I know everybody said, hey, we had the evil robot. We tried to emulate the Tone Master from the 50s.
Right.
Because I have one and it was awesome.
Right.
And that power supply alone hasn't been made in decades. So
Right.
they had to get someone to make one just like it, but it's never going to be just like it.
Well, just to go off on a rant for a second, there's also other elements to that. One of which is 99.9% of people have never played those old amps. They've only heard recordings of them,
Yeah.
which are not accurate. You know, I mean,
Right.
like no recording sounds like you're in the room,
Right.
like it does. People talk about, oh, Hendrix this, Hendrix that. I'm like, yeah, well, was it one of the albums done on a Valve console or a solid state console?
Right.
Was it mastered on chrome tape or was it mastered on iron oxide tape? You know what I mean? Like all of those things make a difference in your final
Huge.
element of what you're, it's the curly chord. Okay. I always say, look, I'll put you in my time machine. I'm going to walk you side stage in Woodstock and go, hey, Jimmy, let him play your guitar for a second. and he'll pick it up, and you won't sound anything fucking like him.
No.
And then I'll say, Jimmy, jump in my time machine. I want to show you something. We'll bring him forward, and hand him your Paul Reed Smith into your Diesel, and it'll sound exactly like Hendrix. It's
I wish you didn't say Paul Reed Smith.
well, whatever. Yeah, maybe not Paul Reed Smith, but sorry, Paul. But then the other thing too is you're old enough. I mean, I remember the first time I heard a Plexi was in 1976.
Yeah.
It wasn't very old then.
No.
And when I hear Plexis now, they sound different because they're 40 years older.
Yes.
My first impressions of Plexis were very immediate, bright, and crisp.
Yeah.
And now when people say Plexi, they think warm, chewy, crunchy.
No.
It's like, no, if you ever stood in the room with a 100-watt Marshall that was fresh,
Yeah.
that thing would rip your fucking eyebrows off.
Yeah.
But then once you put it through a mic and a compressor, and you put it in a mix, and then it went to a mastering studio, it came out really smooth and
Yeah.
nice. Because the engineers did that to it, but the original ones were just like up your nose.
And there's so many mics too, right?
Yeah, was it a ribbon mic, a dynamic mic?
Because my studio rig for the longest time was actually my 76 JMP, 100 watt.
It's a great amp.
Amazing. And it was a special one because I remember it was so special I tried to find a backup.
Yeah, my first Marshall was a 50-watt combo version.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's a
the
cool one.
The little skinny
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
With the greenbacks. in it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great amp.
I plugged into 11 heads and none of them came close. They were all
Yeah.
in the mid-70s. So I got a special one. Now, and I know what it sounds like. I know what the guitar sounds like. I know what that amp sounds like.
You know the sweet spots.
And I hate telling engineers how to do their job.
They hate it.
But if I'm on, if I'm on the floor and I go, and they go, yeah, I can't get any bottom end out of your amp. Well, how many mics you got in there? 2. They're out of phase.
Yeah.
Nah.
Can't
Yeah.
See the little pink button at the top of your strip? Hit that. See
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the bottom end's back. But I think it's I've also worked with amazing engineers too. Guys that just you put up a mic and they know where to put it and they just sometimes I think you only need one mic. I don't think you need to blend mics.
Yeah, there's the guy who can listen to you for 5 minutes and go, okay, I can get that.
Yeah.
I can capture.
I love it when guys let me hear what it sounds like in the room.
Yeah, they stand
Because
there
then
with you. Yeah.
they stand there and then they try to emulate that into the little speakers in the control room.
They know how to translate.
So I love that, as opposed to, just putting the mic up, going in there and EQing the shit. I go, hey, don't EQ my shit.
This is where I always put it, man.
My EQ doesn't need shit. My shit doesn't need EQ.
Right.
And if it does, I'd rather do it on the amp than on
Right.
mic anyways, right?
Sure. Don't need to color it.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, we need some guitar and then we got to go.
Guitar? What?
I'm going to put you on the spot. Play what you want to share. Maybe a request from the crowd.
Yeah, we got any requests?
And that's his slow lick.
Everybody, okay.
It's about a 15-second delay on the chat windows.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's, I thought it was 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't time it or anything.
13.6.
Everybody, it's funny what people, hey, you did this thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, which one? And it's always
Is
this.
that with an H?
Yeah, they always, it's this lick. It's like, wait.
Nice.
So the thing is like, now you can, right, and I love that, right?
Yeah.
But and then when you're on stage and you're feeling more reckless,
Yeah.
you just keep going. So it goes
Yeah.
that kind of thing, right? So I love that
It's
kind
the
of
percussion
recklessness
at
to
the
it.
end. The release. Clunk.
The release, and everybody always wonders about this guy too. How do you make it sound like a dive bomb? Mine always goes up. Well,
Yeah.
start up.
Start
So
up
you
and
push
go
down first,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then that
Don't
kind
be
of
so
thing.
logical, Phil. Jesus Christ. Babe Ruth, the Mexican. New Drills song. Rock Candy.
Rock Candy, I support Rock Candy.
Montrose.
It's so. You know what the best thing in Rock Candy though is? The turnaround, the re-intro before the second verse. love that shit.
I wore that record out. That was the
Right.
first record I said I learned how to play guitar to.
Bad Motor Scooter is my jam, man.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I had a shitty like Sears all-in-one, 8-track with the turntable on top.
Yeah, I love that.
And the needle's like that big. and I wore out my first copy of that record. And I started thinking, I even took the thing to like my record shop guy. Man, my thing's not working. And he put a record on, it worked perfectly.
It's the record you wore.
And I went back home and I put Montrose back on, and I was like, man, I'm not hearing like half a track, and the treble's gone. And
You literally wore it out.
and he goes, bring in the record you're playing. And he still had it in stock. And look, here's a new copy. He says, you spread the grooves. You played it so much, spread the grooves out. Like the grooves had been made flexible by this shitty
I
turntable.
got that record because of you. You introduced me to it.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
actually, at the start of Bad Motor Scooter's got that slide thing, right?
Yeah.
There's a Motley Crue song.
Yeah, Kickstart My Heart.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
it's like they tip their hats to
Yeah.
Bad
To
Motor
Ron.
Scooter.
I was
Yeah.
at the bar the other day and they started playing the
Yeah.
Motley Crue song, and I'm like, they're playing Bad Motor Scooter. And
Matt-
and then they're not.
I'm like, oh.
Well, that's one of those iconic records that I think guitar players all really, really know, but the mainstream don't.
But you know what's amazing about that?
And you listen to music and you go, you can hear Ronnie Montrose in all these
Yeah.
bands. I'm sorry. I cut
No,
you off,
that's
but yeah.
cool because I cut you off because
Yeah.
I love YouTube. Also, another reason is seeing all the old stuff like
Yeah.
that lineup of that Montrose record on a live TV show.
And Sammy was
And-
really young then. He was
and
only in his
it's
late 30s or
amazing.
something.
Something amazing. And Ronnie Montrose has these 3 or 4 little combos.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be like a Marshall Stack or
And it was like
something.
Music Man or something, wasn't it? He
I
played
thought they were
some weird.
They looked pretty tweedy to me.
Oh, it could have
I
been.
thought
yeah.
it was like 2 old tweeds and then bigger boxes underneath or something
It's
like
like
that.
some Tweed Twins cranked
Yeah.
up all the way.
The smaller ones. Like, it was crazy.
And the recording of the record's so good because like the intro with those drums,
The drum center. Man.
it's like it's like Zeppelin-y drums.
Okay, check it out.
yeah.
Denny Carmassi.
Mhm.
Okay, so on the Aldo Nova tour, 1991, Billy Carmassi was the drummer, Denny's brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, he's all excited one day because he's unpacking the drums. The kit from the Montrose
Oh, really?
tour of that record.
Wow.
The Ludwig Giant
Yeah.
Flame.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's fun stuff.
That's cool. It's cool to have a brother like that.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, Jimmy Page. I'm your little brother. Can I borrow that Les Paul from Song Remains the Same?
Yeah, right. That's funny. Yeah, that whole concept of the brothers. Do you know Phil Cassins?
Phil Cassins.
He's a really good friend of Richie's.
I don't think I
But he might have ran. Anyway,
Okay.
he's a really good friend of mine. And we were having this conversation about like being a famous guy's brother.
All right.
Like how it's really difficult for a lot of people. You always got to
Oh, yeah.
live in your brother's shadow. And so we came up with this film treatment of like all the brothers of all the guys in Kiss. Have their own band. I can't say it on the air because it's really fucking vulgar, but I'll tell you about it.
Tell me about it.
But they're all special,
Yeah.
and the band's called Special Kiss, and they go out and do the tour like on a short bus. And
Oh my God, that's funny.
yeah, and it's a really moving plot. Anyway, we'll get into that later. All right, you guys played here with Aldo. I was the house sound. Where is that, Firebird Bob?
Wait, what?
So you said you played there
Firebird.
with Aldo, Firebird Bob, the guy.
Yeah,
at the
I
top.
was.
He was the sound man for that
What?
gig.
What gig?
Where was this, Bob? Tweed Bandmaster, Hoss Thompson says.
Morning Sausage Man.
They have some good handles on here. There's a delay.
He's typing.
Yeah.
You always play here with Aldo. I was house down.
Phil in
You
Tennessee says,
where you
thanks
going?
so much, fellas, on behalf of Phil's everywhere. Youngstown, Ohio.
Life is just a fantasy.
Right. Do it, Phil. All right, yeah, we should hang it up. Phil, it's been such a pleasure to have you on.
Dude, thanks.
Will you come back and we'll
I will
play
totally
the
come
Phil
back.
X amp?
Yeah, we'll play the Phil X amp. I'll
And
even
I'll-
play more.
And I'll get it mic'd up properly and, you know,
Yeah, make it
make
awesome.
you sound good because this
Killer.
is so slapdash and bad. And I apologize for that.
Any other last quick questions? Will I be at Sweetwater Gear Fest 2015? Yes, I will. I'll be out there in the Indiana summer.
Whoa, nice.
Have you ever been to there? Sweetwater does their own NAMM show.
Really?
It's in July in a cornfield, literally. The property behind Sweetwater is all farmland.
I should go.
And they put tents up outside, just nice in July, in Indiana. It's not sweaty. Not kidding. Blacktop.
Yeah.
And it's just like the NAMM show, only it's
Yeah.
outdoors. And the guys are so nice. They make this huge barbecue for like 1,000 people. And you go there 2 days, and just like NAMM. How you doing? Where are you from? Me too. You know, it's really cool. It's
I didn't
very
even know
nice.
about it.
At JB's Lounge in Youngstown, Ohio. That's where it was.
Wow.
Good memory.
We're going back way back.
Yeah. June 12th and 13th this year. Okay, yes, I will be there.
Nice.
I will be there. Let Phil play a Ventura. Reckon he'd dig it. Oh, Phil makes everything sound good. Come on.
What's a Ventura?
One of my amps, little
Huh.
6v6 thing.
Nice.
I'll show it to you sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's fun. I'm sure you will.
Fun is good.
I'm sure you will, you selling bastard. All right, Phil, play us out, would you, sir?
Plays that.
Yeah. Could be the Tonight Show theme.
How about Miss America by Styx? I know. All yours pick. Right. I'll play later.
And hits the guitar. Very fun. Well, anyway, thanks, guys. How about the Bill Haley lick? We did that already. Woo! Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil X. And we look forward to seeing you soon, man. And
Look forward to
I'll make you look a lot better next time. I'm sorry.
I think we look fine.
Yeah, that's good. Well, and before we go, I got to say it again. Like, I think it's really cool that people get to see you in a normal conversation atmosphere.
As opposed to the hyper guy.
Right. Well, I mean, the hyper guy's great. Like, it's youthful exuberance.
But I feel like some people actually think that I put it on. But I'm so excited to play guitar.
I know, you're like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I was in, like, 10th grade. Look, fuck, this is awesome, you know? And it's really cool, but it's nice for guys. And where are you playing in town soon? Can guys come see you here in town anytime soon?
No, because we're concentrating on the
Oh, fuck
record.
that.
And then, so
real quick, in the name of your documentary.
well,
not
tentatively called
Let the drummer pick.
Give the drummer some.
Give the drummer some.
Because there's gonna be like 10 to 12 like world class, the top guys on this record.
Yeah.
Each guy got a song. Abe Laborla Jr. got 2 songs.
Awesome.
Gary Novak got 2 songs. Everybody else got 1, and it's the documentary is going to be like a really cool insight to the guy coming in. We all listen to the song, and then we all become a band for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And just lay it down live.
That's so fun. Where are you recording most of this?
We recorded a bunch of stuff at Grandmaster on Cahuenga in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and we recorded a bunch of stuff at Tommy Lee's place.
Nice.
So yes, Tommy's on a song.
Tommy's
too.
on a song too. Excellent.
Tommy's on a song too,
Nice.
which is funny because I played on all his solo records. So
Oh yeah.
now here he is playing on mine.
Is he using the 103-inch kick drum or whatever it is?
Yes,
The marching band
that's a
kick
fuckered up
drum?
mic. No, he's not. But it's been it's very exciting. I'm excited about the songs. I'm excited about the drummers. I'm excited about. I mean, making the record is one thing, but giving people an inside look at how each drummer is completely different.
Yeah.
And their instincts are different.
Right.
The way they hit is
The
different.
groove and pocket
The
changes.
pocket and
Yeah.
this and that, and this guy played to a click, and this guy didn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's unbelievable.
Right.
So the record is tentatively titled "Stupid Good Lookings,"
Oh, nice.
a la Flintstones,
Oh.
Madam X. So right now we're at. Looks like it's gonna be 14 songs, maybe 15.
Wow.
And I hate that. I love EPs. I love 20 minutes of music, but
Yeah.
the songs keep coming and the drummers keep coming.
You can't throw them away. They're
And
that good. Huh?
well, the thing is, you can't. Well, let's pick the best 10.
Yeah.
But that means you're leaving 4 drummers
You're
off.
hurting some people. Yeah.
And that's not. Well, it's like we got so much talent on this record
It's worth it.
that it all needs to be heard.
2 record series.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a
two
volume
Illusion
1,
Illusions stuff.
a volume 1 and volume 2, but then that
Yeah.
screws up the documentary.
Frampton Double Live. Yeah, it could be.
Hey, the hyper side
Yeah.
and the sit down and have coffee side.
That's right. Yeah, the morning coffee, the nighttime juice.
Nice.
You have a fellow Canadian here asking you to bring the drills to Saskatchewan.
Yeah, is it still cold there? Because I remember winters in Canada.
What does that matter? Yeah, I know. You get ruined in L.A.
You know, there's a joke about Saskatchewan.
Is there? Oh, I don't know any Canadian jokes. We all love you guys, and you guys don't trust us. But we
Well,
all.
it's like when you're in Saskatoon, it's so flat that you watch your dog run away for 3 days.
I mean, that's
We have those jokes about Kansas, you know, growing up in Missouri. Yeah.
what's the name of that comedian? I've heard that pun before. Rich Hall.
Yeah, he took it from me.
Yeah. Right. You watch your
Thanks,
dog
guys.
run.
You've been great.
Your dog stops and sleeps and then keeps going. All right. Well, thanks again, Phil X. And we'll see you fellas next week. Sorry to be short, but, if you're not playing, you want to come back 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, man, I'll come back.
Whatever works for you.
Wicked.
Okay. All right, fellas. Thank you very much. And
Thanks,
see
bros.
you next week. Take care.
Up the
Bye-bye.
pun.
Up the pun, baby. Up the punks.
Triple X. That's crazy.
Regina, the city that rhymes with fun.
I'm going to bring my glasses
Regina.
next time. I can't read shit.
Yeah. And it's a Java thing, so I can't make it any bigger.
It's also rock and roll, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
well, you got to get used to the 15-minute delay too.
Right.